Hello, it's Vivian here. Welcome to the fourth episode of Sit and Knit with Vivette. Thank you to all my returning viewers, and hello and welcome to all my new viewers. For those of you who are new, my name is Vivian. I'm known across social media as Vivette B1, and I mainly use Instagram and also Ravelry for my project pages. I live in Essex in England with my partner Sean and with our cat Bonnie. And the aims of these monthly podcasts is just to show you what I've been knitting over the past month, what I've finished, what's on my needles, and any plans that I have coming up. So if you're all sitting comfortably and have a drink, today I'm drinking pink grapefruit iced tea by Bird and Blend, and I will link to the website below. So it's been quite warm here recently, so I've moved off of my coffees and teas and onto my iced drinks. So let's take a sip and get started. So, what have I finished since I last spoke to you in March? I've finished quite a bit actually. There's some hats, there's some tops, and there's some test knits. First of all, I have my 2 hats for the homeless. So again, for those of you that are new, I have set myself a challenge or a goal for 2019 to knit as many hats for the homeless as I can. These will then be gifted to charity at the end of the month, as we have a local charity that collects on behalf of the homeless. And for this, I'm just using my DK and Aran stash yarn that I already have. So I'm not purchasing anything. Everything that I'm using is coming out of stash. So when I last spoke to you in March, I had this khaki 2x2 hat on the needles. It's a Starcraft Special DK in the khaki colourway. And it's literally just a 2x2 rib. And I've knit 9.5 inches and then decreased for the crown. Again, and quite a squishy knit, quite a good knit, a very easy knit to do in front of the TV. So that's one that I've finished for April. Once I've finished that, I then cast on a child's cable hat. So this pattern is a pattern that my friend Carol, who is the knitting instructor at Beautiful Things, uses to teach pupils how to knit cables and also knit in the round. So it's the pattern is written for an Aran weight, but I did it in DK. So I just adjusted the pattern size and the stitch count to work with 4mm needles. So again, nice thick brim that you can fold up or you can fold under. And then it's the cable pattern all the way up to the decreases. And as you decrease, it keeps the cable pattern as well. So those are my 2 hats for the homeless for April. So I am still on target. I'm averaging 2 a month. And I always like to have one on the needles as soon as I've cast one off. So that's 2 done, and I will show you my next one when I get to works in progress. So as well as finishing the hats, I've also finished some other things, some test knits. The first thing that I finished is this top. So I will insert a picture of it so you can see all of it, because if I stand up I'm likely to send the whole camera setting flying. This is called the Starcraft Sundae top, and Sundae as in ice cream sundae. This is the second one that I've knit. The first one I knit last year in a denim blue colour, and this one I knit using King Cowl Cotton Soft. Purple is the name of this one, and this one here, which if I get closer you can see it's got some lime and some purple speckles in, is called Key Lime. It's a really nice easy top to knit. You knit it in 2 pieces. You then seam it together up the sides and pick up to do the neck and the drop sleeve. So again, very comfortable. So that was the first finished object for this month, and I have worn it because, like I say, it's been quite warm here. So although it's a DK cotton, it's ideal for this spring to transition into summer, and again also from summer into autumn. The other top that I finished is the buttercup top that I was talking about last month. I'll insert a picture of it here so you can see me wearing it. So this is it here. So I'll try and get a good camera angle. Again, it's another nice top, straight down, knitting around this one, and then a brim at the bottom. I do have a few reservations about this top. It was nice to knit and I enjoyed knitting it and I enjoyed doing the patterning, but when I wear it, it's very low cut and it's very loose. Some people had mentioned on their project pages that they found this, and there was a suggestion that you picked up less stitches when picking up that band to try and pull it in tighter together. I did do that, however I found that I had a very big pucker at the back of the neckline, and I couldn't straighten it out, so I had to rip that out and then pick up the number of stitches it suggests round thing. But like I say, it's very low cut and it's very quite loose, and as it's a commercial yarn, I am cautious that it's going to stretch when I've washed it. So I would probably knit this again, but I might go down a size and then just increase up the size under the bust as it goes into an A-line. I will have to see. I'll wear it and see what happens, but it might be that it does get pulled out and then re-knit at some stage. But that is the buttercup top. It is a lovely pattern, but like I say, it's just a very gaping. I mean, you have to wear a very good bra to keep it so that you don't expose everything, basically, because it's very low cut. Yes, so that's the buttercup top. So that was another finished object. The other three finished objects that I have all been the results of test knits. So I will show you those in the order that I knitted them. The first one that I knit was the Just Try hat by Barbara Nalefko, who is Knitting I Love. You may remember that I've test knit a hat and a pair of socks for her previously. So this is called the Just Try hat, and it's got a short cable pattern in it, then stocking stitch, and then you actually finish it with this lovely flower design at the top for the crown decreases. I will insert some photographs here for you to see it in better light. It's knit in Paint Box Aran, Simply Aran, in their purple colourway. And again, it's a really lovely knit. The instructions are very well written as always, and it was a pleasure to knit. What I liked about this pattern was not only was it a pleasure to knit, but it also came with the matching cowl in the pattern as well. So you buy the hat pattern and the cowl pattern is incorporated in it. So I also knit the matching cowl to go with it. Again, this is the Paint Box Aran, and for both the hat and the cowl I used about 150 grams. So I think that is really good going. What I like with the cowl as well is you actually knit it and then you fold it back on itself and either sew it up or pick up the stitches at the bottom. So it's a lovely thick cosy cowl and close fitting around the neck. So come winter this is going to be absolutely ideal because it's going to be lovely and warm. So that was my first test knit finish, and that was for Barbara, and that pattern is now live on Ravelry, so I will link to it below. The second pattern and test knit that I've done has been for a lady whose name escapes me, but she's known as If I Might Say a Word on Instagram. And that one was actually another cowl as well. So this is it here, as you can see. So the pink is a DK, and that is Paint Box Simply DK in their raspberry colourway. And you actually use a slip stitch pattern with a fingering weight yarn in between, and they recommend a variegated one or something that will give you good patterning. So as you can see, I've used a blue that was a leftover from, I think it might have been socks or shawl, I can't rightly remember. The tag I have is one of Barbara's tags, and you've seen those before. But it's a really lovely pattern. The pattern is written in a way that you could either do what I did, which is a very close fitting cowl, or you can cast on more stitches and do a much looser one that you could wrap maybe twice around or whatever. I chose to do the smaller size one. This pattern is being released, I believe, on the 1st of May, and the designer is very happy for me to talk about it in advance, and if by the time this goes up it has been released, I will link to it in the project details below, and I'll also link to my project page on Ravelry so that when it does go live you will have a link to the pattern there. It's called the Nikita cowl rather, and she does give an what the wording means. Unfortunately I don't have it with me at the moment, but again, when you look at if you buy the pattern, it will be. So it's due to be released on the 1st of May. What I intend to do with this pattern is to actually team it with this hat, which is one of the ones that I did originally knit for the homeless, but I have more yarn that I can replace it with a different one, because I do think they go really well together. Saying that, I might, if I can get another ball of this, I might knit it again and then do the pom-pom in the blue and the pink together. I haven't decided yet, but if not, I can actually match it with this one because they're pretty much the same. So those were the two test knits that I completed in April. I do have another test knit coming up which will be starting in another couple of days for another garment, and hopefully I will be able to show you the progress or the completed object next time, because it's due to be released at the beginning of June, so watch this space. So those are all my finished objects. I will just take a sip of drink and then I will tell you about my works in progress. Oh, that's better. So my first work in progress is another pattern by Barbara. And this is her Full of Minis hat. So it is a pattern, a hat pattern, where you use 24 5-gram minis. So it's ideal for people who have an advent calendar. You know, when people often get a mini advent calendar at the end of the year. And that, I think, is the basis it was written in. So if you do a mini swap or you subscribe to an advent calendar, you do it using the 24 colours up and then you add a pom-pom on top. I'm just using minis out of my stash, as I have quite a few. It's a really lovely knit. It's very intuitive the way it's written, and what I actually like about it, if I show you the inside, that as you're going around and you're picking up for the welts, you can actually hide your ends inside, so you don't have to do any darning, which is always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. So that is the Full of Minis hat, and I'm progressing up that nicely, and I'm loving the way that I'm choosing the colours that they come out. The reason is I'm loving it so much is that last year I knit what I call my never-ending scarf. I started it in September and I finished it just after Christmas, and it's actually a scarf that is 6 foot long and contains samples of all the skeins of yarn that I had used to knit socks or shawls or hats or mittens or gloves or anything that used a skein of yarn, either hand dyed or commercial, since July 2016. So as you can see, it's quite long. End to end it's actually 6 foot long, and I can wrap it around 2 or 3 times. So the pattern for this is very, very simple. I just did a Judy's Magic cast on, as you would do for socks, increased it until I had 50 stitches on both needles, and these were on 3.75, and then just knit a tube, very, very long tube. And the great thing about this was, as I was incorporating the new colours, I could just hide the ends inside the tube and I didn't have to do any darning again. Isn't that just wonderful? So that, like I say, is got a mixture of various different indie dyers and commercial dyers. Excuse me. When it came to the end, I just decreased down as you would do for a toe, if you was doing a cuff down toe, kitchen it at the end and added a pom-pom. What I plan to do with the Just Minis hat is, I have some more of this wool left, is to add a smaller pom-pom so that basically it's a matching set. So that's the Just Minis hat, and my never-ending scarf is my first whip. My second whip is some socks for Sean. Now I found these are hiding in my Christmas bag that I made. I found this one and I was like, oops, these were meant to be his Christmas present and I'd forgotten about them. So this is King Cole Zigzag, and I'm just doing him a standard sock, 2x2 rib, all the way down, and then toe decrease, and then I will put an afterthought heel in afterwards. And these are on a 2.5 and 68 stitch count because he's a size 9, 9.5. So again, it's very much, at the moment, it's just easy TV knitting, and then I will get round to putting 2 heels in when I finish them. I'm only on the first one yet. The second pair that I've started, and I'm further on than these, is he wanted some cotton socks for his birthday, which is in the middle of May. He wanted some lightweight socks for summertime. So I have cast on these, and I've done a much shorter leg. There's the, well, I'll insert the toe, and I've completed the first one and then just done a toe decrease. The yarn that I'm using for these is a new range that has been released by Opal, and it's their Opal Cotton Premium, and it is made up of 38% wool, 32% polyamide and 30% cotton. It works, it knits really, really nicely. I bought 2 balls, one for myself in a greeny pinky colour, and this one for him because he likes more muted colours for work. It knits like cotton, it feels like cotton when you're knitting it. So if you want some a cotton based sock, or you find that your feet get too hot in wool based, this is ideal. There's just, like I say, it's just been released, and I know that some people are stocking it. I do know that Julie from Suffolk Socks is stocking it, so I will link to her website because she's got the full range available. So I do. If you wanted a cotton sock for the summer, I do recommend this one. So that's 2 pairs of socks on my needles. Also on my needles is another pair of socks. This one's for me this time. Last month on my podcast, I showed you the yarn that I'd bought with Lucy Lockets, which is another opal one. I can't remember the name and I can't find the little ball band at the moment, but I will link to it below. And I said that I was going to cast on the Calm Mountain socks, which is another pattern by Barbara that I had test knit previously in a DK yarn, and all the details about that are on my previous March podcast. I've now cast on and finished the first one using it as a 4-ply yarn. So this is the opal, and I coordinated it with a Sheep's Invicta in a bright pink because I thought it picked up the pink really nicely here. And you can't see it very well, but that is the pattern on it, which is thing. I've cast on the second one. I cast on the second one yesterday, and that's as far as I've got with the second one, and I've just started putting the patterning in. Again, this is a really nice knit. I just had to make a few little adjustments as to the number of stitches for the pattern to incorporate the extra stitches on the foot, but apart from that it's fine. And again, it's another nice one to sit and do in front of the TV. So I'm working on those, and I reckon those will be finished quite soon. So that's the socks that I've got on the needle at the moment. So that's 2 pairs for Sean, one of which I need to finish by his birthday, and a pair for me. The other 2 whips that I have one more small whip and one larger whip. The other whip that I have is my next hat for the homeless. So this is a teenager stroke adults version of the lighter blue one that I showed you in the child's version. It's slightly different in that I've done a shorter brim this time, so it'll be more of a beanie style. And the reason I did that was I'm hoping to get it all out of this one ball of yarn. And I thought if I do a very long brim, I might be cutting it a bit fine. So I've just done a shorter brim. I'm now in the cabling section, and then I will do a crease, and it will just be a straight beanie. Jeez, I've got a tickle today in my throat. So that is my next hat for the homeless, and that one won't take me very much long, and then I will cast on another one, and I'm thinking of changing patterns this time. So I've done ribs, I've done cables, I've done waffle hats. I just need to think of what else I want to do now, something different. So if anyone's got any suggestions of good hat patterns that don't require a lot of fuss and that I can do quite easily, quite portable to carry around, I don't have to do a lot of counting or stitch marking or follow a chart or anything like that, please pop comments below, because I'm always on the lookout for a good hat pattern. So that is my next hat for the homeless. My final whip that I have at the moment is another top. So I'd finished this top and the buttercup top that I showed you earlier, and I wanted to cast on another one. And this time I chose one called the Potluck Pullover. This is a picture of it here, and the idea behind it is that you can use your leftover yarn from skeins that you may have used for something else, and you can use as many as you need or as few as you need. I decided first time round, so that I can get an idea on sizing, shaping, fit and that, to use just one solid colour, so that I'm just doing it as a plain top. So this is where I've got so far. So I've done the increases for across the shoulder and the front. I split for the sleeves, and now I'm just doing the round and round knitting for about 40 centimetres. The yarn that I'm using for this is a drops yarn. You see there? It's a Drops Flora. It comprises of, if I can find it, 65% wool and 35% alpaca. So it's non-superwash, but it is a fingering weight. I think I've got 8 balls of this yarn, 50 grams, and it's got a meterage of 210 metres, 230 yards. The reason I got this was this yarn was in a sale at Wool Warehouse for £1.50 a ball. And I thought for a garment, that is really good value. So I'm going to get a garment out of like £10 basically. And once I've done this one and I'm happy with the way it sits, the way it feels and the sizing, etc., I'm going to do a fade version. I have 4 or 5 skeins from different indie dyers on the similar basis that I actually really like and that go really nice as a fade. And I like the So Faded jumper and also the So Faded shawl. What I don't like about the jumper is it's a very tight fitting shawl, jumper rather. And I have come to learn that as I've knit them, I prefer something with a lot more positive ease. Nothing huge, nothing like really blossomy, but just something that is quite square and gives me a little bit more ease and relaxation. So I'm going to use a Potluck schematics, do it as a fade using the fade principle as you would do for a faded jumper. So that once I finish this one and I'm happy with the sizing and how it fits, that will be my next garment project. So all in all, that is all that I have planned at the moment. Once I finish the socks, I'm sure I will cast on some more. And once I finish the next hat for the homeless, I will definitely cast on another one. I just haven't decided which pattern I want to, or whether I want to go for a straight beanie. So in terms of content, that's all I have to share with you this month. I hope you found it interesting. Just before I go, I just want to let you know that I'm also planning to incorporate some more content into my YouTube channel. So as this podcast goes out once a month, I aim to do something in between. So you get to see something once every 2 weeks effectively. And that might be something along hints and tips, things that I've picked up, things that I'm liking at the moment. So it could be a review of the yarn that I'm using on a particular project. It could be a review of something that I'm drinking, say for example the teas or the coffee that I drink. It could be a vlog if I'm going out anywhere and I want to vlog. So when I go to Woollen in June, I'm going to Ireland in June for a week and I'm going to go to Woollen on the Saturday. I'm going to vlog that and again post that up when I get back. So sorts of things. So it'll be slightly different content to my usual sit and chat to you about what I've done in the past month, but it will hopefully be something of quite interest that you will get to see. If there is anything that you'd particularly like to see, maybe favourite brands or something, or the way that I do something, please comment below and let me know, and if I can, I will look into it. So once again, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and I hope you like it. If you do, give me the thumbs up, as they say. Also subscribe if you haven't already done so. And there's also, if you want to receive notifications, I do post on Instagram and Facebook just before I publish the podcast, or just when it's gone live. Alternatively, there is a little bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube that you can click on, and that way you'll get a notification when I do publish anything. So I will sign off and say goodbye for now.